This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Gooder. I welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. There is no Sports Catastrophe on this day because there was nothing really that happened in sports on this day, December 7th. So, we focus on this guy. He is a six-time Pro Bowl wide receiver who played 16 years in the NFL. He's third in career receiving yards and third in receiving touchdowns. He actually played college football at Chattanooga, so he's not from the traditional NCAA route. He was picked in the third round of the '96 draft by the Niners. A 7-year guy before going to Philly and then going to Dallas and then Buffalo and Cincy. He was known for his flamboyant touchdown celebrations and all that. He's now 48 years old. He is Terrell Owens. So he would play at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. And UTC actually played in the '95 NCAA tournament. So Owens played in that tournament. I'm just going to take a look at how UTC did. They were the 15th seed again in the Western Regional, and I think UConn crushed them. I would say that. Yeah, Chattanooga got crushed by UConn by 29 points. UConn would go on to lose to UCLA in the Elite Eight. Anyway, Owens' visibility to NFL scouts was lessened because, Chattanooga was an FCS school that didn't really have a winning season. So he was dropped to the third round of the '96 draft. He was basically a member of the Niners special teams for that. However, his first touchdown was October '96 when he caught one from Steve Young. After Jerry Rice tore his ACL in week 1 of the '97 season against Tampa, Owens took Rice's spot in the lineup, taking out J.J. Stokes in the process. Owens looked good. He got 8 touchdown catches, and the Niners won 13 games, which shocked a lot of people without Rice. San Fran defeated Minnesota before falling, I believe, they fell in at home in the NFC Championship game against the Packers, and a lot of people said when Rice hurt, it was like they probably would have beaten the Packers. The Niners looked good, winning 12 games in the '98 season and and Owens would have a 1,000-yard catch a season, 1,097 yards and 14 touchdowns, which was amazing. In fact, in the wildcard game, he had a lot of problems. The Packers were back in San Francisco, and Owens had struggled. He dropped a lot of passes because he was blinded by the late afternoon sun. But on the drive, and in the play they called the catch 2, which is better listened to by the call of Joe Starkey, who was the Niners play-by-play guy at the time. Owens managed to catch a touchdown in front of 2 Packers, and the Niners won the game, which was amazing, and all that. Unfortunately, there was controversy because rumors were that Jerry Rice had allegedly fumbled before his knee went down in a play earlier, but they didn't catch it. Owens only had 4 touchdown catches in '99. Steve Young would have to retire because of concussion problems, and Jeff Garcia, who was brought in from the CFL, decided to be the Niners' starting quarterback. But the Niners sucked and all that. Despite all that, Terrell Owens had 20 catches in a game, which actually broke the record set by Tom Fears in 1950. But Brandon Marshall got 21 receptions in 2009, in a game in 2009. Owens did get 13 touchdown catches, which was good. The Niners were good in 2001. Owens had 16 touchdown catches, which was literally half of what Garcia threw and all that. Owens caught 100 balls in the 2002 season. And, of course, the Niners went to the playoffs and played the Giants in that famous wild card game in which Trey Junkin fumbled 2 snaps. A lot of people blame him on the second snap, but the first snap. But he also had a terrible snap in the fourth quarter, early in the fourth quarter, that could have given the Giants some momentum. Anyway, Owens caught 2 touchdown catches and 2 two-pointers to win 39-38. Steve Mariucci was fired as coach and Dennis Eckerson took over, and the Niners just didn't respond to him. Owens decided to leave. So he wanted to leave it. But the Niners thought that Owens' agent actually missed the deadline on purpose to avoid the final years of his contract with the team. Sanford actually decided to trade Owens to Baltimore for a second-round pick in the 2004 draft. However, Owens challenged the right to make the deal, and he figured he was a free agent. So he had a fail, and the 3 teams in the controversy reached a settlement. The Ravens got their second-round pick from San Francisco, and the Niners had to give back the pick. And Sanford would get a 5th-round pick from the Eagles in exchange for the rights to Owens. Owens would sign a 7-year, $49 million contract. Unfortunately, Owens would sprain his ankle heavily in December 2004 by the Dallas Cowboys' Roy Williams and all that, with the horse collar tackle. Owens' injury needed surgery, insertion of a screw into his leg, and basically that was it. However, T.O. wanted to play in the Super Bowl when the Eagles got to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Using a hyperbaric chamber, Owens helped himself, and he got back to the sideline. He would get 122 yards receiving in the Super Bowl, but they lost to the Pats. Owens decided to hire a new agent, Drew Rosenhaus, and wanted his contract renegotiated. Are you nuts? It was just pathetic. Owens wanted a new contract, and there was a lot of issues. I mean, Owens had a 7-year, $49 million contract. Unfortunately, it was backloaded, which meant that he would get more money as the years gone by. Unfortunately, T.O. had a lot of issues with the Eagles and all that. So by October, he was suspended indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team. Anyway, it was terrible and all that. Owens and Rosenhaus actually did hold a news conference at Owens' residence while he was sitting out. He apologized to the fans and team in McNabb and wanted to be reinstated, but the Eagles did not allow that, and they released him. Dallas decided to sign him to a big contract. And he looked pretty good and all that. Anyway, Owens would have to deal with the Eagles, obviously, as Dallas and Philly are division rivals. Owens actually struggled in that game, and the Cowboys lost. Owens would have to have double surgery on his right ring finger in the 2007 offseason. So the Owens finally did his potential and all that. Owens set the record for most touchdown receptions by a Cowboy with 15. And Dallas looked good. Unfortunately, the Cowboys were in for it after Romo's trip to Mexico with Jessica Simpson. And Dallas lost their touch. They lost to the New York Giants 21-17 in the divisional round, which meant that the Giants would be going to the NFC Championship game to go to Green Bay, beat Green Bay, and then fucking beat the Patriots for the Super Bowl. If it wasn't for Dallas's stupidity and all that, I think the Patriots would have won that fucking Super Bowl with an undefeated season. Thanks a lot, Terrell. Thanks a lot, Robo. Terrell Owens did have a post-game press conference defending Romo, saying that, that's my team, that's my quarterback. We lost as a team. Anyway, the Cowboys released T.O. in 2009, and then Buffalo signed him to a one-year, $6 million contract. He did okay and all that. Got his 1,000th reception as a member of Buffalo. And he got 5 receiving touchdowns. And then he signed a contract with the Bengals in 2010, joining Carson Palmer and Chad Ochocinco, who wanted Cincy to take on Terrell Owens. Owens would get his number 81 from Antonio Bryant, who was the wide receiver, in exchange for an undisclosed sum of money going to a charity of Bryant's choice. He did fantastic. He led the Bengals receivers in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, even beating Ochocinco. But the Bengals were 4-12, and the Bengals decided not to re-sign Owens. He went to the Indoor Football League, but nothing else. And then Teal signed a one-year deal with the Seahawks hopefully for the 2012 season. Sadly, though, 20 days later, they released him. Rumors were circulating that he would join the CFL. Edmonton could have had him and all that, but the Eskimos dropped him from the negotiation list. He worked out with the Rough Riders, nothing. That's funny, all that. Owens actually is the father of 4 kids by 4 different mothers. And there was problems with child support. In fact, 3 of the 4 mothers actually came on an episode of Dr. Phil in May of 2012 to talk about Terrell being hung up short in monthly payments and all that. There was a lot of problems with Terrell Owens. He was in that famous Monday Night Football skit in 2004 with actress Nicolette Sheridan from Monday Night Football. All that. The skit was sexually suggestive. All that. He had a hydrocodone overdose and all that. September 2006, and media outlets said that Owens tried to kill himself and all that. He was depressed. It was an accidental overdose, in fact. Teal wasn't really put into the Hall of Fame at first. It took a couple years, but he did get it in 2018. He actually skipped the official celebration and decided to have his own celebration at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. In fact, Owens is the only Hall of Famer to do that. Like, honestly, why? Anyway, his touchdown celebrations were huge. In 2000 against the Cowboys, with Niners and Cowboys, he would run to the center field Dallas Star and claim it, if you will. The second time, George Teague of the Cowboys leveled him, and there was a confrontation. Owens was suspended by the team for a week and all that. In 2002, on Monday Night Football against Seattle, Owens pulled a Sharpie out of his sock to sign the football he caught for a touchdown and gave it to his financial advisor. No one punished him and all that. However, the NFL adopted a new rule banning players from carrying quote-unquote foreign objects with them on the field. Owens mocked the pregame ritual dance of Ray Lewis when he scored a touchdown against the Ravens and all that. On Thanksgiving Day 2006 for the Cowboys, when he caught a touchdown pass, he put the ball into a Salvation Army red kettle. All that. So anyway, he played 219 games in the NFL, over 1,000 receptions, 15,934 receiving yards, 153 touchdowns, making him third, as like I said. He has several NFL records. Only player ever to score a touchdown against every one of the 32 NFL teams. He did it at least twice against every team. Only player in history to have an 800-yard receiving season with 5 teams, that being Cincy, Buffalo, Dallas, Philly, and San Francisco. Only player in NFL history to have a 200-yard receiving team game with 3 teams, Bengals, Cowboys, Niners. A lot of other stuff that it's not really that important, is it? Tio was on the cover of NFL 2K5, which a lot of people said was one of the best video games of all time, and I'll attest to that. I mean, he's an icon, all that. So, yeah. Terrell Owens was on the cover of the Hall of Fame edition of Madden 19. Okay, he was on Dancing with the Stars with Cheryl Burke in 2017. Okay, but Tio is basically an icon. He may be a little controversial, but he's good. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.